Hi, this is Carolyn Appel of Free Range Human. I want to teach you how to do some dynamic warm-ups. This is going to prepare your body to transition from sort of being at rest or doing more static activities to doing sports or playing different types of activities or even getting ready for your gym workout. Okay, so I'm going to go through a few different warm-ups that are going to help stretch out your major muscle groups: quads, glutes, hamstrings, calves, chest. All right? So you don't need any equipment for this, but it's important that you do about 6 to 8 repetitions on each side to properly prepare yourself. All right? So the first one we're going to do is a basic quad stretch. And this is one that we tend to think of as being a static activity where we just hold it. Okay? This is how the thinking used to be in the past, where you'd hold a particular movement and you might do a 30-second stretch. But now what we're going to do is take that same basic stretch but make it dynamic by just reaching your end point and then returning the foot back to the ground. That way the full length of the muscle is getting stretched, but we're not holding it in one position. We're warming up the temperature of the tissues, getting them to be able to expand and contract much more easily. All right? So that's the quad stretch. The hamstring, you're going to kind of look like Frankenstein here. So you're going to have your arms out in front, and we're going to swing the leg almost like a pendulum up towards the hand. And we're doing this without rounding the back forward. So we don't want to have any movement in the actual spine. We all want it to come from the hip. Okay, so this is a great way. And you can also go up on the bottom toe to add more range of motion there. Okay, that's the hamstring. Now the glutes, there are many ways to do the glutes. I'll show you a couple. The first one, this requires a bit of balance, okay? So you can actually get your foot across the knee, and you're going to kind of be in a prayer position, and we're going to sit back and down to open up this hip. You're going to sit the weight on that heel, keeping a neutral spine, and then you're going to stand straight back up. Another way you can do the glutes is to go into a pigeon pose, and that'll have you starting in a plank position. You're going to bring one knee forward between the hands, settle your back leg down, and then you're going to reach forward, draping over the front leg, and then we'll just have you walk back as far as you can there. As you come down, you drape forward, really opening up the hip on this front leg. And then you'll come back, okay? And you'll switch and you'll do both sides, all right? Now we can also do the calves in that same plank position to start, and we're going to take a little page from yoga here. So we'll get back into the plank, and you can do this on one leg at a time. You'll cross one foot behind the other, and we're going to reach the hips up to the ceiling, getting this back heel towards the ground. And then come back to your starting position. All the way back and down. So it's a tremendous stretch actually for the entire band of tissue that runs behind your body all the way to your heel. All right? Finally, for the upper body, we'll do a couple stretches. This first one is for the chest, and you're going to have your arms straight out in front. We're going to do a bit of a whipping motion with the arm, and you're going to turn and pivot with your lower body at the same time. So it's going to look like this. You're going to whip your arm back behind you as far as you can, but we're going to do it with a little speed, all right? So you're going to throw the arm back around behind you, pivoting off the opposite foot. So at the very end point, I get a nice taut stretch across my chest. To show you from the side, it looks like this. All the way around, all the way around. And this also helps you to warm up your hips, your trunk, and works on some coordination as well. Finally, a great exercise or a great stretch that gets the lats, triceps, and the whole side of the body is a stretch that you're going to do for your tricep. So you're going to get one arm overhead, and I'll show you from behind. You're going to have the elbow, you're going to push the elbow down towards the ground while stepping across with the opposite foot. Now you're going to push your hips to the left as you lean the upper body to the right. And then you'll come back to your starting position. One elbow, push it down towards the ground, cross over with the foot, lean the hips, and get a great upper body stretch. So that's going to help you get warmed up for your gym activities, or if you're going to go play tennis or baseball or volleyball or even go running, okay? I want to show you some more dynamic stretches or warm-ups to help prepare your hips to get ready for activity. So the first stretch we're going to do is going to be a hip flexor stretch, or the band of tissue that runs in the front of your body that has a really large impact on your spine actually. So the more that we're sitting in this flexed hip position, the more we tend to want to get that anterior pelvic tilt. So by stretching out the hip flexors, we can take some of the stretch off the spine so that it'll be back in that nice neutral alignment. Okay, so the kneeling hip flexor stretch. You're going to have one knee down, and you're going to have your hands on hips or overhead or behind your head, whatever's most convenient for you right now. So you're going to sink the hips as far forward as you can while squeezing the glute of the back leg. So you're going to squeeze this glute, and you can feel this tremendous stretch in the front of the thigh. Okay? So if you do it with the arms up, that'll help to get the stretch further up your body. Now, you can also add some different upper body variations while you hold the same basic lower body position to help get different planes stretched on that tissue. So let me show you. So if you have the straight forward reach, glute squeeze, we can add a side bend to this. Now that'll help you get all this tissue coming down the side. And finally, if you want to add a little rotation to this, that'll also get another aspect of the hip flexor that you might neglect otherwise. All right? So that's for the hip flexor in the front of the hip. Now let's go into the inside of the hip, or the adductors. So we're going to do some lateral lunges or side lunges, and that's going to look like this. So you're going to spread the feet apart, toes are facing forward, and you're going to sit back and down as far as you can to one side, and then you're going to drive the hips forward. You're going to go to the other side and drive the hips forward. So each side, you're stretching the opposite adductor or groin muscles. Okay? So we've got about 6 to 8 on each side. From the side, it looks like this. Back and down, drive the hips, drive the hips. Okay? And then finally, one more hip stretch. It's the hip cradle stretch. So what you're going to do is you're going to grab the top of your shin with one hand and the bottom of your foot with the other, and you're going to pull straight up to the ceiling and then back down. Pull straight up and back down. To make it even more challenging for the balance, you can take this walking. So we'll alternate sides, and again, we want to keep the spine nice and neutral. We don't want to bend forward to reach the leg. We want the leg to come to you. That's been some hip dynamic warm-ups. Start getting them going before your runs, or you go out and play some ball, or even all your gym activities. This is Carolyn Appel. Keep on moving.